Good day, everyone. Professor York here. I'm going to be going through Business 454 Senior Projects in Marketing, give an overview on the course, and also give you some tips to allow you to be successful. This is me. I'm going to be your professor for the quarter. I come with more of a practitioner's view, and that's how I teach this class. I have had a lot of experience in the agency side with my own firm, and I've worked in marketing for over 25 years. And just as an FYI to communicate, if you look on the bottom set of bars, email, I do have office hours, Monday, Wednesday, 4 to 5. And if you send an email, I will try to respond as quick as possible. And not 48 hours. I try to get emails clear literally in the same day, if not in a few hours. We start with why, and you'll see in the syllabus I talk about the why from Simon Sinek, which his book is just fantastic and start at why. So why is this class important? It helps you cross the chasm from the school world to the work world. Cal Poly has a lot of learn by doing, and what we're going to do is work by doing, actually, and we're going to work with a real client. So this is a practice class that's going to help you really pull together a lot of the things you've learned in your past classes. And that's great because this practice class will help you pull those skills together, but also develop some additional skills with the focus on a client, since you're going to be working specifically with a company that has a real marketing need. And as you can see from several of my past students that we've had, this is what they get out of the class. They've learned a lot. It's not that they learned in other classes, it's that they pull together to capstone. Okay? And you will learn other skills that will help you a whole lot. Okay? So there's the academic side. It'll help you with your resume in terms of having the client experience. The skills will be especially heavy emphasis on the communication skills and the team skills. There'll be connections that you'll make and recommendations you'll be able to gain, and I've provided recommendations, and some of our clients have provided recommendations to our students as well. And some of you might find that you have a new business idea. Oh, and yeah, I know that this is one of those classes, especially if you're a marketing major, that you may need to graduate. So we'd like to get you through this class, successful in this class, so you can graduate, go in the real world, and do some great things. This is a customer-oriented class, and one of the things we want to do is make sure we take care of the customer, and that's why you'll have one of the readings is the Art of Client Service. And we're going to help the customer in terms of who has a business problem, they're hiring us out. And we're not here to do stuff, tactical stuff, like an intern. We're here to utilize our knowledge from marketing strategies, things like the customer journey, the marketing funnel, the personas that we think about with our customers, being able to use the PCME framework, which is positioning, concept, message, and execution framework, versus just going out and doing a logo, or STP, which is segment and target and positioning. These frameworks are very important, and many customers, especially I've noticed a lot of small businesses, don't utilize that and just think that marketing is just run an ad campaign or just do something on Twitter. It's a whole lot more. And hopefully we can be able to help them, help themselves and their businesses be successful. This is our journey. We'll start week 1 in terms of forming teams, getting to know the clients, visiting with the client. By class 4, you'll be doing a debrief of your first meeting with the client. We'll be filling in knowledge skill gaps. You'll be doing the work. You'll be doing updates in class, and then you'll have a final presentation at the end of the quarter that will pull everything together with your recommendations, and it'll be to the client. Polyloom will be a home base. I tend to use the overview and the announcements a lot. Anything new, I try to add into that overview section. I will try to update every 2 weeks our schedule. That is because we may have changes such as, new speaker or new topic, etc., based on what the needs are there. But in general, the class is built around your presentations and coaching sessions. Those are going to be very key as we move forward, and so you can do the work to address your clients. And then there are some other important sections which will have assignments, but also will have academic materials and readings to help you. Speaking of readings, we have 2 books that will be for this quarter with short write-ups. The Art of Client Service, which really is out the gate one of the things you have to read early on to help you be successful with working with a client. McKinsey Engagement talks about team and also problem solving. And then these articles, which we will talk about in class 3, will help you with making your point up front, being more effective as a communicator. These are by key academicians like Michael Alley talks about using headlines and a story. Barbara Minto, who has been with McKinsey, talks about making your point up front, organize and structure using the powerful pyramid and use of 3s and the pyramid structure so that you can make your point up front, because sometimes the attention of the client waxes and wanes, and we need to get that point up at the front end. We'll have a lecture 2 based on what your needs are. I have a whole host of lectures I can pull upon. It can be video as well as live. I also have colleagues, and last quarter in 459 we brought in 5 different guest lecturers via Zoom. And it really helped out having practitioners to share what they did in social media. So I look to hear from you what your needs are so we can backfill. You have a great foundation in the other classes. What I want to do is be able to put and refine those pieces so that you can be very successful with your engagement. But the bulk of the work is going to be done by you in class, doing research in the field, out of class, engaging the client, and using the library. So how can you be successful in B454? 1, pay attention to the rubrics and pay attention to your syllabus. So read your syllabus, and with each presentation, read your rubrics very, very closely. You'll have some personal deliverables. Okay, they're about 40% of the grade. Okay, I do believe that we have a reflection paper is 5%, and the peer assessments are 15%, and the class participation is 10%. We have 60% is going to be your team deliverables, where your final presentation actually will be 20%, and your client evaluation will be 10%, and professor points will be 5%. So there are some small adjustments that we've made. Take a look at the syllabus. I find that the client piece is a very important piece, and I've asked the client to weigh in as we go along at different points. So you will see that even in the first presentation, there'll be a section for client weighing in. Midterm, there'll be a point where I'll ask for client input, and I want you to be attuned to that as you go forward. And it's only because I've seen having that back and forth dialogue with the client will help you be in tune, let me be in tune, so we know if there's issues that need to be addressed, so that at the end, nobody gets surprised. The client is happy, and we can wrap up our final deliverables with a nice bow. Okay, we talked about focus on the client, and that's just in terms of how you behave, your professional conduct and dress, respect time, be concise, be organized, especially the point person. Don't be pushy. We ran into this the last quarter. It cost that individual actually a half a grade, and that was driven by the client. Think through your recommendations and actions, present communication well. And I like to just emphasize, you don't have to agree with everything the client is, and there are times I don't, but listen to them. At least let them feel like they're being listened to. And then when you make an argument, remember, you present your argument by having data and frameworks and a business logic, so that if there may be a point you want to influence, then you can do that. Take your teamwork seriously. Again, this is another point. You saw 15% of your grade is based on the team piece. And again, I've seen where individuals in this class have been sitting at A's and been pulled down to A minuses or B pluses based on how the team scores come at. And we have at the end is we use CATME, which is a Purdue product for team evaluation. And there's, literally a whole host of different domains. So it's a pretty accurate tool. And what's interesting is I run a midterm team assessment, and many times what I pull out at the midterm team assessment does get pulled in and seen in the CATME evaluation. I think there's only one or two students that I've seen where they've had a bad midterm team evaluation, and then you come to the final evaluation and they have improved. So you do have that opportunity there. You don't get docked for points in the midterm team assessment, but your final assessment is very critical. So take your team seriously. And I mean that by being engaged with your team, being there for meetings. Don't being disruptive. You can debate, but respect the person. Okay? And the same thing goes for being in class. Attend, be on time, you miss, tell me before emails, sign in, be engaged, focus, respect, and participate. And what that means is you're not on your phone, you're not on your computer, you're not talking to peers. It's amazing how you think you're getting away with it. And I see this, and it comes out in your final class participation grade. So be there, be engaged, add value. That's what I'm looking for. Those who ask questions, those who contribute to the conversation, are those who end up getting the highest class participation grades. Be attentive to the deliverables. Okay? On time, email, 9 p.m. due date, use the same point person. Formatting is critical. It is amazing. I put in the rubric about formatting and timing. I also even put in the syllabus about how to format. So go and look at the formatting recommendations. I do not want them in Google Docs. I know you like to work with Google Docs, but send them in Word documents and no PDFs. So really make the effort of sending the documents in documents that we are using in the work world today. Make sure you take the time to make sure your deliverables look professional. Nothing irritates a reader more than having something that doesn't look professional and miss your message. So make that effort there. And focus on your presentations. We'll have 6 through the class, okay? And these will build essential skills for the workplace. I do believe that if you look at the 4 core presentations and the final present, 40% of your grade is based on presentations. And this is a big skill set I want to emphasize, because as marketers, it's not just what you do and how you think, but how you communicate and how you present. And using the presentation platform will allow you to have a leg up. And when you present, remember, it is very critical that you pay attention to the rubrics. Okay? Think about form, okay? On time, organized, professional. Delivery. When you deliver, are you engaging? Are you professional? Are you organized? Are you on time? Are you looking at the audience? Are you utilizing the slide remote and the laser pointer? And then your content. Are you focused on the key issues that are in the syllabus and rubric? And I'll emphasize this again because I found in one of my classes that when they were doing their presentations, they were missing sections of the rubric and they were getting zeros. I don't want that to happen here. Address the client's job to do, and let you anticipate questions and issues by having an appendix in the back. Okay, we may be timed, but we can always have backups to respond to questions, and also having proactive questions to engage your audience. Other items. Be ethical. If you don't know stuff, don't make it up. Do not plagiarize, and own your own work. If you have to withdraw from class, be full of the deadlines. make sure you communicate and complete your paperwork. And these are some of the acceptable absences which are in the syllabus. Okay. It is not uncommon with illness. I totally understand. Just let me know, or if there is a school-based type of conflict, let me know beforehand. I've run into a number of these issues over the last 2 years, and we want to work with you. I actually had one student who was hit by a car, was in the hospital. I had another student who actually had some gallbladder surgery. We will work with you, okay? But you need to communicate, okay? And then finally, some items to pay attention to. Respect for each other, respect for the classroom, okay? Respect for when we're having presentations. Providing psychological safety. And that is within your groups, which is very important, because that is very important as you go into the work world. And also in the classroom. I've had actually one situation last spring where we had someone who was doing anonymous texting to a student during a presentation, and the texts were not very nice and they're very distracting. So we want to build a safe environment so that we can learn, we can be successful together. And last point is no lobbying for grades. I try to be very fair with my grading. I try to be very generous. Generally, most folks, if you do your work, will be B, B+, A-, A. Okay? I've had on occasion one student who just didn't turn in deliverables, and that once one or two students end up getting lower grades that are there. So just participate. Do your deliverables, do your jobs, work part of a good team, take care of your client, and you're going to do fine. Okay? And lobbying for grades is where I want you not to think about the grade. I want you to think about the skill set you're developing. Would you go to your boss and would you lobby your boss for a raise? Probably not. Probably we could do what we call induce the opposite effect. So I want you to get used to, here's what's come out as the feedback, and learn from that feedback and learn how could I do better. And maybe that's the approach, is how can I do better for the future? And we look at how we can get you as strong as possible so you can be successful as you enter the work world. All right. Anyway, that's it. If questions, let's talk in class, one-on-one. I appreciate your time, and I look forward to a great quarter with you all.